want to go racing, go for it. To race or not to race. You might like it, you might hate it. You might come out of it more motivated to get better and even ride more. So, here is where I think the traditional race format can be useful no matter what your skill or fitness level might be right now. Okay, I'm going to put this out here first before you all start attacking me in the comments. Oh, you're an old man, you don't know, you don't race anymore, and you're a master, blah, 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 blah. I started mountain bike riding in the mid-90s, and I started downhill racing in the late 90s. Here in Ontario, but without tooting my own horn, I was pretty damn good considering the timing and who I was with. I did that for a number of years, and then university came along, that kind of quit. I did get back into it in like 2007, where I raced my Kona Coiler trail bike to a podium, I think it was. All I really remember about that is, yeah, you know what, there was a podium, because all I remember really is getting called a sandbagger by somebody. I hadn't been racing for what, 7 years? I was the only category I could enter, so dude, I'm sorry. After that, I did some 24-hour racing, some cross-country racing, multi-hour team races mainly, with a little bit of the local flair cross-country races. So I did, however, get into enduro racing in some later years. I did the tough rack stuff. That was amazing. I loved it. And then I went out to Aspen, Colorado, and did the Big Mountain EWS Enduro that year as well. And let me tell you, riding at altitude is no joke. But let's get back to the question at hand, and that is, should you race? Or perhaps why you might want to go for a race. Here in Ontario in specific, we have a couple different avenues for mountain bike racing. O-Cup cross-country races is the more traditional format of cross-country racing, similar to Olympic and UCI World Cups. We have multi-hour races like the 8-hour events, 24-hour of adrenaline, Hurton, Halliburton, those sort of things. We also have marathon type events put on by Substance Projects, which are typically double or triple the traditional cross-country racing distances. And then we have enduro events, and they're back in this year. So special note to the 9 Lives Enduro and the Gani Enduro that will be happening later in the summer and early fall. All of these race formats have something in common and is a huge benefit to you if you decide to race. Marked courses and medical staff. You're not going to get lost, and should something happen, you'll get taken care of right away. Racing is a great way to get introduced to new trail systems, or even ones that you don't ride very often, so you don't get lost. Just ride, have fun, and the bonus being medical staff on hand if you overcook yourself. Where things change, however, is the outcome metrics that may potentially affect your personal motivation to race. Multi-hour events are for riders mostly to go ride with their riding group, hang out, have a good time, eat, have coffee and wobbly pops, right? But it's not so much about the racing, it's more about riding together. Now, there are people, obviously, that treat it as a race, but for the majority, it's to have fun. It's not to say that when you get going in a multi-hour event that you won't start racing, because it gets in your head and then that's what happens. You just end up start giving her. Mainly it's about having fun. Now, you'll see personal improvements throughout the day. People check their times lap to lap, but that isn't so much more of an improvement, more of an understanding and a perfecting of lines throughout the day on the same course. So here is where I think the traditional race format can be useful no matter what your skill or fitness level might be right now. Racing can serve as a benchmark and a motivational tool to ride more and to improve. And that metric that you can use is race placing. Individual races like the O-Cup, XC events, enduro format can offer that useful metric to gauge your current fitness and skills and act as a tool to measure your personal improvement. And you know what? It might actually motivate you to ride more. Maybe put a little focus on to several aspects of your training to help you improve. You race, you do the next one, and you see how you improve in the standings. The reason this metric works is you typically will be racing against the same athletes, or within that group, a very similar caliber of athletes will show up. So placing can help you show improvement. It's just hard to use other metrics to gauge improvement in racing, simply because courses change year to year. They can be different trail conditions from year to year, and throughout a season, courses are in different locations, so they're completely different. You could use body metrics, heart rate, power output, that sort of thing. But we're generally not at a level where those little changes will mean anything. Okay, let's say you're just not keen on racing, but you're looking for improvement. How do you gauge that? Well, if you've got your GPS device, best way to do it. You can measure your improvement through similar rides using average speed, average heart rate, time riding. You can even get more specific to gauge how your training and skill development is improving through segments. Word of caution. Pick a trail segment where you're not likely to run up against other people. No sense causing any conflicts between hikers and any riders. But you can use this GPS data to track your improvements. So you want to make sure there's a mix of things. You got some climbing, you got descending, flat, power segments, sprint segments, the whole bit. Combining them all together to give you a good idea if your fitness is improving and your technical skill is improving. But just don't get too obsessed with it, and be courteous to other trail users. One of the things that I found that is the single best piece of equipment to help you maintain peace on the trails is a trail bell. Not one that you have to ding, but one that you can turn on and off, so that as you're riding, it just naturally dings. Some of these bells, I've had other hikers and riders hear it from over a kilometer away, so they're well aware that somebody's coming up on them. And don't ride with headphones. I mean, we all like to listen to music. Get the aftershocks or something similar that uses bone conducting technology. That way you can hear everything around you but still listen to your tunes. And it's real easy to just turn it off when you go into a section. So if you want to go racing, go for it. Give it a try. You might like it. You might hate it. You might come out of it more motivated to get better and even ride more. And riding more is almost never a bad thing. So get out there, get a little dirty, and ride more awesomer.